have to start my symposium about the employment of a new war theory in contemporary English plays. Keep in your mind that we are in an age of war, an age of terrorism, and I think this is a topic that really suits the spirit of the age and the spirit of the present conditions, even in Iraq nowadays. Surely, war is the greatest drama in human history. It is not something new. It is not a recent topic in English literature. No, it is something as old as the humanity. It is something really being reflected in earlier studies and earlier writing. And now, the literature of war is one of the wonderful field, a wonderful genre that really try to show the interconnectedness between political field and that of art. And now the political drama really has a radical change in the life of man to show that the effect or the impact of politics on the life of man. And sure that in age of war, we have to know what about the literature of war. Literature of war that show to you the spread of war in nowadays in literary writing, and it is part of enacting with the new tendency of global citizenship. Now it is part of a new tendency in the world, you know, it is part of creating a new American century. You know, we have actually clusters of wars, and I have told you earlier that it was something related to earlier ancient times from Gilgamesh, Iliad, Odyssey, Aeneid, all of them, all these works start with war. But the clusters of war in 20th century, the First World War, the Second, the Korean, Vietnam War, and the American War in the Middle East in particular, try to create a special interest in war. What is meant by war? It is something common that war is an armed conflict between nations. And it is a human abomination that show that there is no romanticizing, no heroic sense. Even it can be defined as a social activity. But the new definition for war, it is as a science. What kind of science? The science that the natural consequence really of ignorance. Nobody can now give us the exact boundaries or the exact theories of this science, because it is gone and flourishing. But in modern stage, we find that there is a big welcome for war in modern contemporary stage. Why? I have answered this earlier. We say because of the clusters of many wars. And recently, the American war in Middle East really support and supplies the modern stage with really a wonderful topic that need much and much employment. So we are going to find war drama. War drama, the field that tackle what happened in the cultures during and after the war, and can be classified. And this classification is not something new. This is something that tackled in early ages. We have a pre-war drama, trench war play, and the post-war play. This is depend on the set of the action. But we have other classification that depend on the mood of a presentation. Is it realistic representation, symbolic, absurdist, expressionistic, or allegorical mood? We have other classification, depend on the plot, the narrative, how the play concentrate on what exactly? The existential experience of war, the collective experience, the concentrate on the leaders and officers, or in the technology, the invitation of a new technology in war, about the enemy land escape, or the attack on homeland and foreign occupation. I have to draw your attention to the sixth one, because this is the major one in recent time. The attack on homeland and the foreign occupation, it is the prototype of war itself, and really can be traumatized and well expressed in the occupation of Afghanistan and Iraq, in a new form of war that is called new wars. We have to know what is meant by a new war. Such expression is invented by Mary Calder in 1999 in her study New and Old Wars. She tried to show to you that in new war, it is a new type of organized violence. And it is part of that really satisfy the current form of globalization. To show to you how we find a new significance that stresses the impact of economic factors on war, to show a new war which can be also described as a postmodern war. According to Calder, the new war, surely you have to know what is meant by a new war. The new war involves a blurring of distinction between war, organized crime, or violation of human rights. This is the new war. We find the blurring of this distinction. As if we bring them together, the war, organized crime, and violation of human rights, to the extent sometimes you cannot say whether it is a war, whether it is a violence, a crimes, or it is an attempt of the violation of human rights, because this new type of war tries to show a new tendency and a new aims. New wars try to focus on the effect of the social and cultural changing, really stress such a thing, and bacterially appear after 1980s and 1990s. First of all, try to break down between political and economic sphere, and between public and private, and military and civil. Keep this in your mind. In new war, it is not necessary to find that only the one who, the military field to be affected by war. This is a traditional war. But in new war, even you are a civilian at home, you are going to be affected directly by war. This is the new tendency. You find that every field of life, economic, political, social, public, private, civil, all of these spheres are going to be affected by the initiating of war. In armed conflicts, there are distinctive features for new war plays. In armed conflicts is not necessarily just to shape backgrounds, no, but to understand the portrayal of civilians through the armed conflict. For example, in U.S.-Iraq war, you know what happened by Linda England, the lady, the soldier, the American soldier that really tortures the Iraqi prisoner at Abu Ghraib. It is not necessary, we don't find a battlefield display, but we find a reflection of the suffering of civilian through the military man. I mean, an armed conflict is not a background, no, here, just to show to you the suffering of the civilian. And you find a part of dualism here to mix together civil with military, public and private, to show to you there is a oneness now in all spheres because of the armed conflict. In one way or in another, in the new war, we have involvement of society. Directly, we find the society in conflict, affected. And its characters exist in chaotic conditions. That even when you ask them, nobody can try to give you a definite answer, what is the future? What about the next days? I think this is something really experienced by people in Iraq during the Iraq war, or even in recent wave of terrorism because of the ISIS. The ideology of antagonism of retaliatory violence with civil war. Part of the new war, it can be a kind of retaliatory violence, and it might lead to civil wars, or even start as a local war. This is the nature of a new war, that is not merely as a military conflict between two sides. But in new war, we can find a child as a soldier, or a woman as a soldier, not necessarily man, an adult man. This is the traditional way. But in a new way, child can be an active soldier, and even the women. And this is really experience in U.S. Iraq war. There is no linear development for the plot. It is not necessary to find beginning and an end for the war. It is not necessary to find an expected end, as if the war just has cyclical nature, that there is no an end. There is no beginning, and unfortunately, in recent time, a supreme language of communication among countries, it is war. This is because of the nature of recent age. You find an extent of decades with no change in events or end. You can't find in a new war try to cover many years and decades to show to you the major dilemma that affected by this special war. And the major slogan, this is really very important. Lost security predominates and justify everything. I mean, everything being justified for the sake of security. That's why the prominent aspect of a new war will be climate of fear. There is a fear spread because of the such kind of war. A war tries to show as constant and quite amorphous threat. Such a threat can affect the conduct of decision. Believe me, the new war affects even education. Many people never able to go to school because of the threat of war. Many people maybe have a special plan for their future because of the horror of the war. They change their conduct. They change their dreams. The new war affects everything, even the conduct of people. Sometimes they say that we don't find the classroom, we find the classroom empty. Because of what? Because of war. We have many, many prominent plays about the new war, and these are a tentative list about the various plays in new war. By the way, all of them are contemporary, and they tackle different types of war, whether Vietnam War as a background or US-Iraq War. And the majority of these plays are really written as a response to US-Iraq War. But the chief characteristics of a new war, that the war became as an agent by itself. There is no need to become as an instrument for politics, no. No, the war itself became instead of politics. And this is, by the way, this is a major strategy that is being really used by high, supreme countries or nations like US nation. I don't know, where is the problem? There is no change. How shall I change the image? Anyhow, as being as an agent by itself, the major one that can be an agent by itself, I have to pass. No. Shall I? I see. Okay. The war became as an agent by itself. Which war that really achieved such a smoldering for many times? The best example of such war, it is the US-Iraq War in the 20 March 2003. You know this war, it contains two phases. The first phase, that started from 20 March till the 9th of April. But the second one is related, the longest one, that from 2003 to 2011. The best examples of the play that really reflected the nature of this war is the play that related to the verbatim schools by David Her, Stuff Happens. In Stuff Happens, no, not this. You can't even, لا هاي الوان. شرايح كمان حتى لو خليها على الشرائح. Okay, thank you a lot. US-Iraq War, really it is a favorite subject for many dramatists and many playwrights, since they find that it is an actual event. And let me tell you that the modern dramatists now, they depend on verbatim theater which is called a theater of actuality, or the documentary theater, which is a theater of actual events, real interviews and real speech that is said by major political figures. Traditionally, when we come to any war play, surely you expect there is a meeting between two different armies, there is an armed conflict, there are soldiers, you expect to find dead figures, you expect a meeting between two bots. This is something common in war drama and according to the war theory. But according to the recent trends in drama, and that is really related to the new war theory, that everything has been changed just to show that the war is an agent, the war is stand by itself, the war now instead of politics, the war affects life of man, life of society, and affected to the extent that there is no need to the traditional tendency. This is the first phase of US-Iraq war. This is a short one, but the second one is the longest, that till the December 15, 2011. The war US-Iraq team deploys, they are really a dramatic response to show the radical change for the socio-political situation and power politics. And the major play that can show to you the new type of a new war drama or new war theory, it is Stuff Happens by David Hare. This play shows to you the prelude and the consequence of US-Iraq war. It is built on the verbatim principles and show to you the characters in various meetings and invite the audience to get the truth of this war. The character of this play now in front of you. Number one, Bush. You find you on them: Bush, Rumsfeld, Colin Powell, Tony Blair, Condoleezza Rice, Dick Cheney, Paul Wolfton, Hans Blix, Al-Baradi'i, Jack Straw. All those are really actual figure in the life of people. Yeah, well known. Surely you know about them from TV or any type of media. In this play, there is no soldier. Few Iraqi. We find one speech for Saddam, and no Iraqi soldier. We find no dead, no order. Merely we find political meeting to show to you decision to go to Iraq. In this play, Bush asked his people, what kind of war plan do you have for Iraq? How do you feel about Iraq war plan? And Powell answers, if we go to Iraq without coalition, without UNA, we are going to find ourselves in trouble. By the way, those figures are a character in the play, but these speeches, they are actual speeches captured from media and deployed here dramatically. And then even Blair himself, they try to ask that we are in need of evidence to go to Iraq in order not to be in a great dilemma. By the way, Bush says that I am a war president. And he said, God told me to strike Al-Qaeda and strike them. And he instructed me to strike Saddam, which I did. God chose me. And then he says that all nations should know America will do whatever is necessary to ensure our nation's security. By the way, it is not really that Iraq has a threat on the security of USA, about the society and their own power, but really in an indirect way, Iraq can show a kind of a threat by the power of oil, by the market of oil on their own system. It can be described as a war of oil. Powell say, we invade Iraq, the whole region can be destabilized. By the way, these sayings are truth. Friends of ours like Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, all going to be put in danger. The oxygen is going to be sucked out of everything the United States is trying to do, not just the war on terror, every other diplomatic defense and intelligence arrangement we have, and the economic implications are staggering, not least on the price of oil. This is the truth of US-Iraq war, uttered by those characters on the stage, on the political stage. But in fact, there is 1,000 questions nobody wants to consider, let alone answer. How will be received? By the Iraqis themselves? And once we go, how long will we stay? Keep in your mind the occupation, the invasion of Iraq and the occupation, something really has been planned well by Bush and his administration. And it is a completion for the first war that is done by the Bush the father. And here Bush the son tried to complete this mission, which is called Operation Iraqi Freedom. The second play that really deserves to be a good example of a new war theory, it is the Judith Thompson Palace of the End. The play is a trio of monologues which expose scandals of Saddam's regime and US-Iraq war. Again, the play is built on 3 figures only in 3 monologues. Each character represents a special scandal, either of Saddam or of US-Iraq war. The first one, the pyramid by the soldier that really do to American soldier Linda England. You know this lady and the horrible sexual abuse for Iraqi detainees in Abu Ghraib prison. Nobody can deny the horrible scandal by this figure with Iraqi people in Abu Ghraib prison. The second, you know this soldier says what? I had a smile on my face, but this was serious intelligence work. And I am very proud to say that the naked human pyramids was all my idea. I did good for my country. Apes at Abu Ghraib. He describes Iraqi people as apes at Abu Ghraib. They was monsters in the shape of a human being. They was prisoners of war. The other figure that really he has to be a person admit his own shame for his own biggest scandal in US-Iraq war. This is David Kelly. In Haradawn, the events related to the life or death of British scientist, weapon inspector David Kelly. This weapon inspector, the person who really stated a big lie in the history of humanity. He says that really there is a weapon, mass destruction weapon in Iraq. But then he admitted the truth, and such admission led to his death. What did I do? Did I go scream in the streets? Did I write to the papers? I want to tell the truth. Which the truth? The truth about weapons of mass destruction. That is what everyone wanted to know. I skirted the truth. I skirted the truth. Popped and weaved. My words always precise, witty, always filtered, always bloody lies. This person really, the one who commits a brutal crime against Iraqi people, when he states that Iraq, really the country that has a weapons of mass destruction, and then when he discovered the great tragedy that happened in Iraq, he admits his own fault, but such admission led so soon to his own death. But at the same time, we have another figure. This is an actual character in history of Iraq, the story of Nargis al-Saffar. She is a member of the Communist Party. This lady suffered greatly during the regime of Saddam Hussein due to her being as a member of the Communist Party. And then she finds her death in the First Gulf War. We have to give you a concluding point concerning the new war theory and the best example of US-Iraq war. US-Iraq war is unjust war that is based on false, fabricated evidences of Iraq as a terrorist country. As a truth, it is a message of power that Bush has intended to send to the entire world, and it's part of the major achievement of colonial private agenda. You know, Bush has a really a long colonial private agenda, and particularly in Middle East. and he finds that the head of the list is Iraq. It is something related to his own imperialistic expansion, but it is covered by nice words that safety, democracy, and liberty. And all of you remember the slogan of US-Iraq war, Operation is Iraqi Freedom. Concerning these selected plays, they are a new war drama. They are portrayed to you civilians, the impact of politics on the life of individual, the involvement of society in current military conflicts, and show to you the real events. Keep in your mind, the research drama, there is necessary to find a meeting between soldiers from different sides. No, you find the impact of war on the life of people, and a direct severing of civilian from the such new war theory, which is really now be said under the slogan of terrorism. The new dramatist violates the traditional matrix. We don't find the traditional style of drama. Now we find a new tendency, new theaters reflected. If you dig deep in the structure and the building of these plays, you find there it is a blending of Shakespearean, absurd, epic, meta-drama, documentary, verbatim, tribunal, and other ones. And the last word I have to say to you that US-Iraq war really is unjust war, and the US-Iraq war themed plays are best example of a new war drama that really employ a new war theory. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope that you enjoy this lecture.
Thank you very much, Assistant Professor Dr. مثال مدلول, for the nice presentation. Yes, war, it's always for the sake of economy, as most analysts in the world claim. Occupation of Iraq really adopted the new strategies, weapons. It is always called as third generation war. Its main aims are implicit, although analysts, political analysts claim it is economical, but of course there are other aims behind. Life changed in Iraq and everywhere in the world after Gulf War, economically, politically, and socially. Yes, societies, several societies in the Middle East were actually demolished. Confusion is everywhere. Iraq, Libya, Syria, turmoil, deprivation, ignorance, we have espionage, we have illiteracy, homelessness, chaos, corruption at all levels, everywhere in the Middle East. It is really unconventional war, and the weapons are unconventional. Human beings are used as weapons. So, women, children are also used in this respect. All in all, the war is amoral, unethical, and unhuman. The targets, I'm talking about Iraq now, the targets are our future, our sons, grandsons, and the coming generations. And of course, our structure or infrastructure is also targeted by this cruel war. History, let's just go recourse to the proverb. History repeats itself. Actually, all Iraqis, throughout the history, right from Babylon and up to now, were victimized by international warmongers, so to speak. But thanks to documentary theater, for documenting our chaos, our confusion, our turmoil, our deprivation, the illiteracy, the amount of illiteracy which exists in our societies. And thank you very much for mentioning those, or reminding us of those warmongers. But I think you have, you haven't mentioned Schwarzkopf. Do you remember, that name? That, cruel man? That cruel man, through, Al Jazeera and Al Arabiya, where, during the, documenting different, scenes, in the, of the war, were presenting the views of blood, everywhere in Iraq. Thank you very, very much. It was, really an interesting, lecture. Now, the